Okay, so we're going to go over vertical angles, adjacent angles, complementary angles, supplementary angles, and linear pairs. These are all just rules that deal with angles and are going to help you know these two angles add to this, these two angles add to that, whatever. So vertical angles is what we're going to start with, and these are two angles across from each other on intersecting lines. So the vertical angles in intersecting lines would be the angles opposite each other, and we know that they are going to be congruent. So these two would be vertical, and these two would also be vertical. Go ahead and name all these. A and E. So angle AEB would be congruent to angle DEC because they'd be across from each other. And then I'd be able to say angle AED. Remember, I name my angles if they've got more than one angle E. Right here, this is angle E, this is also angle E, this is also angle E, and that would be angle E. So I can't really just call them all angle E, that would get confusing. So the way I name those would be the points in order. So it goes from A to E to B, where E is the vertex. Angle AED is congruent to BED, or C. And that should be an angle sign right there. So I know all that because I know they intersect and they form vertical angles. Let's go on to adjacent angles. Two angles that are next to each other and share a common side. So this one is just this easy. A, B, C, D. And I know that angle ADB and angle BDC are adjacent. And I know that, and if you see just the letters written out, you can tell it's adjacent since they have the same points twice. This is a line inside my angle, right? So a line segment rather. So they are going to be the same angle. Complementary angles. Any two angles whose sum is 90. You're most going to commonly see that in a right angle, right? So a lot of times you're going to just see complementary angles like this. There's just a X, Y, Z, and W. So the measure of angle X, W, Y plus the measure of angle Y, W, Z would equal 90 degrees. Pretty obvious because you know it's a right angle. Even if they don't sit together like this, they'd still be a complementary set if they add to 90, but usually you're going to see something like this. And this is going to be something we use quite a bit, especially when we have right triangles that are broken down and stuff like that. Don't get these two confused. Just because they're adjacent does not mean that they're complementary. Right? I have to know it's 90, they have to tell me, I have to figure it out somehow, I have to know parallel or perpendicular lines. Anything like that will show me that they're 90, but I have to either show it or know it to use it. We'll move over here to linear pairs. Two angles that are adjacent and supplementary. They form a straight line. Okay, so I don't really know what this word supplementary means yet. We haven't talked about that. So let's go down and do supplementary angles first. Alright. Two angles that add to 180. So the best example of that is going to be a linear pair. And the linear pairs are going to see most often. But I'm going to show you another set since we don't want that to be our only example. So let's call this angle A, B, C, and angle D, E, F. These are not adjacent, right? They don't share a common side. But if I know that this one is 100 degrees and this one is 80 degrees, they're going to add to 180, right? So they would indeed be supplementary. Finally, we've got linear pairs, which is a type of supplementary angle. In this case, they add to make a line, which leads to my word linear, right? Linear means line. A, B, C, and D. And you can tell I'm just naming these points whatever. When you make up one, you can name them in any order you want, as long as when you write your statements, you're correct. So I just made it this way. I could have put D right here and B right here, whatever. As long as when I write it, I have this vertex, whatever I label it as, in the middle. So here, I can say the measure of angle ABD plus the measure of angle CBD would equal 180 degrees because they make a line. These would also be adjacent. So these are adjacent angles that are supplementary, that do add to 180 degrees. And this is all a good bit of vocabulary. You're going to have to use this on the next couple of pages in your packet. So make sure that you get familiar with these terms. They'll be pretty useful. And we'll start doing some algebra with them. And I'll just go ahead and give you one algebra problem as an example right now. So here's an example. I'm going to do everything in one example. I've got some vertical angles, CFD and BFA. I've got, of course, complementary angles, CFD and DFE. I've got linear pair, AFB and BFC. And then I've got this angle over here, AFE, which these two are also linear pairs, so if this is 90, then this will also have to be 90. So I've already got one angle. But our goal is to figure out all the angles here. So I'm going to start by going through my vertical angles. And as we just filled out, vertical angles are always congruent. So my vertical angles are the ones opposite each other. I can put my little lines there to tell me they're congruent if you want. And I'm going to start by writing angle AFB is congruent to angle BFC. I'm going to trade that out. And finish it up. Minus 5x, minus 5x, plus 15, plus 15. I'm doing both at one time. That is perfectly fine. There we go, that should be plus 1. Okay. So I get 5 times x equals 35. Divide both sides by 5, we get 7. So let's plug in. If these two are equal, then I did that correctly, right? Because they should be congruent, they should be equal. 10 times 7 minus 15. 70 minus 15 is 55 degrees. Down here, 5 times 7 plus 20. 35 plus 20 is 55. Perfect. So we found the right x value. Now, we are going to use this 55 degrees rather than the x value to find the rest. So this is a right angle. I know that the two angles inside the right angle have to add to 90 degrees because they are called complementary. So I'm just going to say 90 minus 55. This must be 35 degrees. We've got one more, and I've got a linear pair here on the line AC. I've also got a linear pair on the line BD, so I could choose either one. But as you see, this is 55, this is 55, so it's not going to matter, I'm going to get the same answer. So let's do 180, because a line is 180 degrees, minus that 55. So this angle is 125 degrees. I know now all the angles in there by using three facts: vertical angles, complementary angles, and linear pairs, which is a type of supplementary angle. So there's your video for today. Remember, next time your homework is going to be the back of that page, the angles formed by transversals. So you do not have to worry about that yet.